Green light's on. You can hear me? I just have to speak a little louder, I think. Okay. So yeah, my name is Stan Edwards. I'm the director of the Counseling Center. If you stop hearing me, just raise your hands and I'll try to speak a little louder. So just real quickly, the Counseling Center, first of all, is located at Rocket Hall, 1810, and our extension is 2426, in case any of you needs to access us, right? So the Counseling Center it's free and confidential counseling for any UT student, undergrad or grad student. So feel free to stop by if you need. Feel free to call if you just want to call and talk. Whatever you want to do, feel free to do that. See some hands up, and I think those hands are up for the handout. Okay, so keep those up, and someone will get you one of the handouts. So I'm going to start off with just a few questions, and then we'll go into more. So I know the answer to this first question, but I always like to ask it anyway. So how many of you are graduate students? So raise your hand if you're a graduate student. Okay. I see every hand raised, right? So raise your hand if you've been a grad student in the past. Have you gone through another graduate program? Okay, raise them up high. All right, so we have a good number of folks who have been in graduate school before. Any of you, are any of you going to be graduate assistants? Got a GA-ship. Okay, a few more hands, right? Are any of you parents? Got any parents in the crowd? All right, we've got a good number of parents. Look at that. I'm going to hesitate to ask this next question. I think it's okay to ask, but years ago when I was in grad school, the program that I was in, we were not allowed to, if we had a GA-ship, we were not allowed to work outside of our GA-ship. So, does anyone have a job besides being a graduate student? Part-time, full-time? All right. Anyone in any kind of organizations? Any kind of organizations outside of being a graduate student, right? Anyone married? All right. Anyone doing anything else besides the things that I mentioned? Anyone want to say what they're doing? Just you can say it out loud. Just shout it. Somebody shout something that they're doing that's training for a marathon. He's busy. Somebody's coaching over here. Training for a marathon. Planning oh my gosh. Planning a wedding. Anything else? Loud. Building a house. Say it again. Playing chess. Oh, that's stressful. That can be. Not if you're playing against me because you'll beat me easily. So, anything else? Just shout it out. Working on a conference paper. Very stressful. What else? Anything else? Studying for the MCAT. Dogs having surgery. That's very stressful, right? That's stressful, especially for the dog, right? Anything else? Anyone own a business? Any business owners? Has anyone experienced a significant loss? I hate to bring that up, but that can be pretty stressful, right? Is anyone caring for a relative? Maybe there's someone who's sick and you have to, right? That's pretty stressful. So there's a lot of things. I mentioned those things because there's a lot of different things that we're all going through besides being a graduate student that can be stressful. So really, I mentioned those things because really all of you are really experts already in being stressed, but also you're probably pretty good at, you probably have already found some ways to manage stress and to deal with it. And that's what today's about, just talking about just some other thoughts about how to manage stress. So the first slide I'm going to put up here is this. I love this slide. I'll read it, but you can read it yourselves. The Counseling Center, we have a bookmark that we distribute that has our services on it. But on the back of the bookmark, it has some stress tips, and this is on it, right? Stress is like mud. It's easier to get out of it when it's up to your ankles instead of up to your armpits, right? Can you visualize that? Being in mud up to your ankles instead of your armpits, right? So you want to make sure that you deal with stress early on. That's the takeaway message with that. Making sure that you're dealing with it early on. Is there anyone here who thinks that they will get through graduate school without being stressed at all? Probably not, right? That's a joke, right? So we know that there's going to be some stress going on. The idea is understanding that you will have it. It's going to happen. But how do you deal with it? How do you identify it early on so that you're dealing with it? I'm going to put up a definition of stress. And as many of you that are in this room, there are that many definitions of stress. So this is just one: physical and or emotional response to the demands and pressures that modern living puts on us from time to time. Stress can be positive. Anyone agree that stress can be a positive thing? Absolutely. So we tend to think of it as negative, right? We tend to think, everything is bad, everything is horrible. But I'm going to put up a slide in a couple seconds that really kind of highlights how stress can be a positive thing. We want to understand that because it's necessary to know that it's not always negative. We can have some control over it and have those things work for us. The slide I'm putting up right now is the human function curve. It's not in your packets. Hopefully you can see that, but I can try to explain it. I have to go back to school myself. So you got the x-axis and the y-axis, right? So you have arousal along that x-axis, and we call that arousal or tension or stress, right? X-axis, and then performance is on the y-axis. What you see there is that low levels of stress or low levels of tension or arousal, you don't do too well, right? That's everybody who's kind of just hanging out, right? I hope that, it costs money to go to graduate school. Some of you had GA ships, but you got to work at those things. I hope that you're not here just to fool around, right? You're here to get your degree, get your graduate degree. And so if you're at that low level of stress, there's no tension. I don't know what to say about that. That's not a good thing. So certainly as someone who's not tense about it, you want to have some tension about it, right? You got to study for things. You got to do research papers. You have to do all kinds of things. You have to do some teaching, managing your life. So you want to make sure. So there's going to be some tension and some stress. But at that low levels of stress, the drone zone, you don't want to be there. I know we all like to be there, just no stress, to be stress-free. But we know we're going to have some of that. But as stress goes up, it's actually a positive thing. As it goes up, it tends to enhance performance. It tends to wake us up, motivate us, get us going, and helping us to perform better. Of course, we're trying to avoid getting to that the top point where you see exhaustion, where our performance tends to go down, right? We know that some of you are going to get there. That's going to happen. It's a part of life. But the idea is trying to avoid that point, that peak point, where stress is taking over and where your performance is deteriorating. So in your packets, I want you to turn to your packets right now. The first sheet that you have in your packets, does everyone have a packet? Anyone not have a packet? Raise your hand if you don't have one. We'll get one to you. So in that packet, just gave you something that you can take with you. I'm not going to give you mine because I need to look at it. So somebody else raise your hand. Get some more passed out. Keep your hands up. Hopefully we can get some to you. They shouldn't all be gone. Let me see. I kind of know what's in these packets, so I can hand them to you. I'll give you mine. We'll see if we can get some more. We have some folks who want to share, right? We have some shares. I'll give you this one. But that first sheet in the packet, it just talks about. It's just a sheet that you can take with you. I'm going to have you take a minute or two just to start filling that out. I think the first column says, what is stressful? And there's an example there. I want you to write down things that are stressful for you right now or things that you anticipate being stressful for you fairly soon. Just write them down. I think the next, if you can, let me take a look at it. I think the next column has goals for your stress, goals for managing it. So just put some things down. It's going to take about a minute or two. Just write a couple things in there. And then as we're going through it this morning, you can fill out the rest of it if you want. If you don't have time, you can fill it out later. That's why I gave it to you to take with you. It's about 2 minutes to write a few things in and on there. So give you just about one more minute, and we'll move forward. Yeah, hands up again if you don't have a packet. There's one back there. We have a few folks over there. All right, just write it. Just keep writing. We'll start in about 15, 20 seconds. We'll continue. All right, so just hold on to that. Again, that's something that you can keep. It's something that you, as we were talking this morning, you can fill out some more as you hear ideas. One thing I forgot to mention at the beginning was I have a number of items here, things that you can take with you. I have some stress balls. So for anyone, in a minute, I'm going to ask for some audience participation. And if you do participate, you can get a stress ball, right? Nice stress ball. These are good. People like these. I'll even give you one even if you don't participate. I won't be mean to you. We have some counseling center pens up here. We have some highlighters, some Post-it notes, some refrigerator magnets. So the question I forgot to ask you earlier was, is anyone in the audience feeling out of balance with life, feeling stressed, feeling worn out? Or has anyone felt that fairly recently? Anyone care to share what has been stressing them out? Anyone care to share? Any sharers? You want to share?
My project isn't working.
Your project's not working? What project is it?
I'm studying a protein in centrioles in the cell.
Okay. So let me ask you this. What's causing you the most stress about it?
My advisor.
Is your advisor here? All right. Anything else stressful about it besides your advisor?
Well, the techniques I'm using, I'm trying to find new ones, and I'm trying to adapt the techniques I have now. Like I'm working with an antibody that we made, but we don't know if it works or not, and that's a big risk in of itself.
Okay. So are there things that you're doing that you feel that you're doing to manage that stress, to manage what's going on? What are you doing to manage it?
Well, I'm reading up on a book on antibodies and how they make it, or how they make it better for experiments, or like how they streamline it, or properties of the antibodies.
It probably feels weird me sticking this microphone in your face, but anything else you feel like you're doing that is helping you to manage that? If not, it's okay, but anything else?
Oh, I mean, just sitting down and just thinking about, or don't even think about the problem itself. Just think of something else, and eventually the solution will come to me.
Okay. What's your name? Anthony. Okay. Thanks, Anthony. Anthony, want a stress ball? Okay, give you a stress ball. You want two, Anthony? No, I'm just kidding. One for your advisor, right? Anyone else just care to share? I'm going to just real quickly just come to the end. I'll try not to stick the microphone to your face too hard.
Right now, my wife is stuck in China, so that's been kind of stressing me out for the past month or so.
Okay. See if I can. What's most stressful about that?
Yeah, her absence is definitely stressing me out.
It's obvious, right? But it's fine. I still will ask. What kinds of things are you doing that you feel are helpful for you to manage that?
Well, I've been talking to her every night on Skype, so that's better than having no contact with her at all. So that helps me a lot.
Okay. Anything else you feel that's been helpful? Things that you want to try? How long has she been gone, by the way?
Let's see.
Okay. Okay. What kind of things do you feel that may be helpful for you going forward? You still have some time with this.
Well, being in school again is going to take my mind off of it, hopefully, and I don't know, just taking the steps, seeing a lawyer, and trying to get her visa information figured out.
All right. So some action steps, some things you can do to work on that. Anyone else? Let's do one more person. Since you're standing, I'm right here. I don't want to walk around a whole bunch. So.
I have a son who has Asperger's, and I work part time in two jobs, and then I'm starting graduate school. So, just a lot of stuff going on.
Okay. The son is with Asperger's, two jobs, two part-time jobs, and school. Okay. Would anyone agree that she's stressed? Right? Okay. Okay. So, how have you been managing it so far?
Um, Talking to other people about issues with my son is really big, and actually, Doug helped me, and we were working together. So, and then, like when I'm in the car, I'll listen to classical music, and that tends to help me a lot. And then exercising.
Okay. Very good. I forgot to give you your stress ball. I'm going to bring yours to you. So I forgot to bring you your stress ball. All right. Good. Thanks. So yeah. And really, I think there are more folks who raised their hand when I asked that question because a lot of you have a lot of strategies or a lot of techniques. You've dealt with stress. You've dealt with stressful situations. So you have a lot of strategies and techniques to work through that. So what I have for you in your packet, the next sheet in your packet is called a student stress scale. And I want you to take a look at that. I want you to just start filling it out. Again, you may not finish it today, this morning, but just start filling it out. It just has some items that can be stressful, and they have certain weights. And it's not super scientific, so it's not going to tell you exactly where you fall in a meter, but it gives you some categories or some ranges of stress that you might be experiencing based on what's going on in your life, right? So just take about a minute or two to fill that out, and then we'll pick up again. Give you one more minute just to write some things in on there. All right, most of you finished the stress scale? Okay, does anyone want to share where they fell on the stress scale? Way in the back, you shout it out. 627. Uh-oh. Anyone else? Way in the back. 797. We got some pretty stressed people in this room. Right over here. 68. Kind of relaxed, huh? Very little. Okay. Anyone else? Right over here. 303. All right. Anyone else want to share where they fell on the stress scale? Say it again. 293. 125. Okay, 125. Anyone else? 306. All right. Anyone else? A couple more folks. Way in the back there. 345. 91. Okay. So again, depending on where you fell on that, or that exercise, just to kind of give you a sense of where you fall on the stress scale, things you should be thinking about, right? So folks who are, hopefully you want to try to identify it early on so that it hasn't gotten out of control. But even if you've gotten to the point where it's out of control, you want to look at some strategies to deal with it. So the rest of what's left in your packet is there's a sheet that has some stress thoughts or ideas, stress tips sheet, as well as 101 ways of relieving stress, right? Those are things you can take with you. Again, things you want to make sure you're engaged in, things you want to make sure you do to help deal with your stress. I always talk about, whenever I do this talk, I always talk about self-care, of course, when you're dealing with stress, because we know we're going to have it. It can be positive in some ways because it motivates us, but we tend to think of it as a negative, and I know that when it gets too high, when we get to some folks back there in the 300s, and someone said 600 and something, all right, so 700, so when you get there, we know you really need to work on some things that are helping to manage your stress. So there are 4 roots of self-care. There are 4 things that you want to think about in terms of self-care, in terms of taking care of yourself. The first thing is serenity. That's the first root of self-care, right? It's important to periodically or on a regular schedule to be engaging in activities that bring some calm and some peace in your life. So some folks like to, well, let me ask you, what do folks do for serenity? What do you think? Meditation, I heard up here. You run. You said you run, okay? And reading. She talked about reading, all right? Anyone else? Serenity. What brings you serenity? Jigsaw puzzles? Okay, it makes me all frustrated. No, I'm just kidding. But it brings serenity to you, right? All right, so serenity is important. Yeah, meditation, deep breathing, relaxing things. The gentleman way in the back mentioned running. So, of course, another root of self-care is exercise, right? We have a great rec center here, right? Anyone been to our rec center? It's a great place, isn't it? I think is it open yet? I think it opens on Friday. They reopen on Friday. So, exercise is another root of self-care. So, serenity, exercise. The third root of self-care is love. And what I mean by love is community or people, making sure that you have a good community around you, good people that you can confide in, good folks you can talk to, people that bring you calm. Some people, we all, maybe not all of us, but a good number of us have some people in our lives that kind of don't bring us that, right? They just, man, when we see them, they buck us. Not those folks. I'm talking about people who bring you some calm. It's important to have love or community in your life. And the last root of self-care, anyone guess what the last root of self-care is? Want to guess? I can't hear you. Dieting, food, right? So dieting, having a properly balanced diet. So that's important. It's an important root of self-care. All right? So, again, you have those sheets. Those are things that you can do to help manage yourselves. So one last thing I want to do before we stop. Well, it's a choice, and I'm gonna give you a choice of what we can do. One thing we can do is we can spend, got about 5 minutes. I think I'm running past my time. We can do a few minutes of people just talking about some of the things that they've learned that help them to manage stress, or we can do a deep breathing exercise. Which one would you like to do? Let's do a deep breathing. Most people usually choose that because it's a pretty peaceful thing. So let's do a deep breathing exercise. So what I'm going to do is have you put everything down. Everything you have in your hands, you're going to put them down. And I'm going to have you, as you're putting those things, I'm going to have you get really quiet. As quiet as you can. It's going to take a second or two to get really quiet. Really settled in. All right. So we're getting really quiet. And oftentimes when people do deep breathing, many times people feel it helps when people close their eyes when we do deep breathing. Now, some folks don't feel comfortable doing that, but if you feel comfortable doing that, go ahead and close your eyes right now as we continue to get quiet. If you're not comfortable with your eyes closed, it's fine to keep them open. So you're going to get really quiet. And right now, as we're quiet, we're just sort of listening to and feeling the air going in our bodies and out of our bodies. We're just breathing normally right now. We're not doing deep breathing yet. We're just breathing normal and getting real quiet. Now, in a few seconds, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start deep breathing with y'all. I tend to have people breathe in through their nose and out through their nose, but you do what feels comfortable for you. And what I'll do is when I say breathe in, I'm going to do a 4 count. Have you hold it for a second or two, and then breathe out for a 4 count. But again, if a 4 count's too long for you, you do what's comfortable for you. All right? We'll do about 3 or 4 times. So go ahead and deep breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4, and hold it. Now breathe out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4, and hold it. Go ahead and breathe out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in again. 1, 2, 3, 4. And hold it. And breathe out. 1, 2, 3, 4. And what I'm going to have you do right now is continue to do deep breathing on your own. Do it at your pace. Do it in a way that feels comfortable for you, but continue to do deep breathing. And as you're doing deep breathing, I want you to imagine yourself in the most peaceful place that you can imagine for you. It'll be different things for different folks. So as you're doing your deep breathing, imagine yourself in a calm place. Now, some people, when we do this, lots of people imagine themselves at the beach. So they feel the sun and the sand. If that's where you feel comfortable, then go ahead and go to the beach right now. And I heard someone earlier say that she enjoys reading. So some people enjoy, they might be under a tree, a nice shaded area, and they're reading a book. So if that's your place, go read your book right now while you're doing deep breathing. And then some of us feel comfortable or relaxed on a long drive in the country. So if that's what you do to feel comfortable, I want you to go there. All right. We're going to do a deep breathing for another 30 seconds or so, because we're going to wrap up. But just stay in that comfortable, calm place where you are and continue to do deep breathing. And we're going to wrap it up in about 15 seconds. We'll continue to do some deep breathing. Now we're at about 10, 9, 8. These are slow seconds. I want you to enjoy it. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now open your eyes if they're closed or if they're already open. Keep them open. Just real quickly, because we do need to wrap up. Can anyone talk about what that was like for them? Real quick comments. What was it like for you? Relaxing. Anybody else? You got sleepy, right? Okay, that's what it's designed for. Anyone else? One more. Let's do one more, and then we'll wrap up. Anyone else? What did it make you feel like? What was that like? Was that hard to do? Easy to do? What would you say? Probably pretty easy. So it's something that I encourage you to do periodically, right? Not when you're at 600 and something on the stress scale. Boy, if you can, that took about 5 minutes. It can be even briefer than that. So if you do something for a few minutes each day, that will do great things in your life in terms of stress management. I want to thank you for your time. Again, if you want to come up and grab some of this stuff, I have it up here. Feel free to grab what you want. Thank you.